We will now add some additional variables to our coin simulator program so that it will keep track of the total heads, the total tails, and the total flips, and it will also display this information to the user. Under variables, we will make a variable. We'll call this variable heads. Select OK. Let's make another variable. So under variables, select make a variable. We'll call this variable tails, and then select OK. Finally, make another variable. So under variables, select make a variable and call it total flips. It's better to name your variables all one word, so no spaces, then select OK. So you can see we have our 3 variables displayed now for the user. The number of heads will be displayed here, the number of tails, and the total flips. In order to increase the total flips every time we click on the green flag, we will use the change block. So under variables, select the change block and snap that into place just beneath the set block. In the pull down menu, change it to total flips. So every time we click on the green flag, our total flips variable will increase by 1. Let's do the same for the heads and the tails. So if our flip variable is equal to 0, then we will display an H, but we will also increase our heads variable by 1. So under variables, select the change block and snap that into place. I'm going to place it at the top of our if portion. In the pull down menu, change it to heads. So now, if the flip variable is equal to 0, when we click on the green flag, we will display the H, but we will also increase our heads variable by 1. Let's do the same for tails. So under variables, grab the change block, place it in the else portion of the conditional statement. In the pull down menu, change it to heads. I'm just going to make my code a little smaller so you can see it all at once. Let's test our program out now. So every time I click on the green flag, you can see my total flips variable increased by 1, and so did my heads variable. So that time we displayed a heads. Oh, I just noticed I made a mistake. So you can see that right now I have changed heads by 1 when it should be changed tails by 1. So in the pull down menu, I'm just going to change that to tails. There we go. The other thing that we need to do is reset all of our variables. In order to do that, I'm going to add another event. So under events, select the when the space key is pressed. So when we press the space key, we'll reset all of our variables. Now that we have our when the space key is pressed block, we're ready to reset the variables. So under variables, grab the set block, and in the pull down menu, change it to total flips, so that when we hit the space bar, our total flips variable will change to 0. So you can see I did that now. We need to do the same for heads and tails. So grab the set block, change it to heads, make it sure it says 0. Grab another set block, change it to tails, and make sure it says 0. So now when I click on that space bar, you can see all of my variables have been reset to 0, and now I can click my green flag. So let's test out our program again, make sure we don't have any more bugs in it. Okay, so I've clicked the green flag 4 times. That means I've had 4 total flips. 2 of those flips were tails, and 2 of those flips were heads. So you can compare the experimental probability, which is what we're doing here. This is the part that we're experimenting, to theoretical probability. So you'll probably learn about that in class. But we shall expect when it's either one or the other, if we have a lot of flips, we should end up with the same number of heads as we do tails, or close to that, which should be half of the total flips for each of heads and tails. So just keep flipping. You can see right now we have an unusually high amount of heads and only 4 tails. But if we keep flipping that over and over and over again, eventually you'll see those 2 numbers get closer and closer together.